to BS2PCG Deck Forger. So for today, we're going to give you a very good update on how the Mantle mechanics, which will feature I think a month ago here in BS2PCG Deck Forger, how it came out after several playtests, most notably against the likes of Outriders and of course some of the top tier decks here in Manila. So for now, let's go back to how we did before. So again, we tried to put in several locations, plot twists, and we have to try to slim down or trim down on some particularly key characters of the deck. And again, it didn't work well, so we tried to squeeze in additional cards, and of course we'll try to explain that later in our sample gameplay and even deck component section. So again, Miles Morales is our main man, and this is of course Mark Leon's favorite Spider-Man character, and of course his cousin also Tom. And we will try to dissect what we did with the new Miles Morales deck, so that finally we are able to come up with a very competitive deck that can of course fetch and put into play Captain Universe as early as the 4th turn. And with the likes of, let's say, counter characters like Jessica Jones, Mordo, or Killmonger, what we have included in the deck so that we can be assured that we are able to really drop in the big Spider-Man Captain Universe during the crucial 4th turn. So try to stick with me guys as we try to give you an update on, of course, Mantle mechanics by Miles Morales Spider-Man. And of course, I would like to apologize for all our players here in Manila, since we do not have any schedule yet for our physical BS2PCG tournament, since the lockdown is still ongoing, and of course COVID-19 still rising up in cases here in Manila, not just in Manila but also in nearby provinces. And sad to say, 3 of my far-flung relatives in the province already succumbed. So I would like to share my condolences to the immediate family members. And this is also a calling to all other players out there that we really have to be very careful at this particularly nasty pandemic time. So it's no joke guys, 3 of our far-flung relatives actually succumbed to COVID-19, and they just of course gone in just a blink of an eye. One of course perished during the 17th, followed by the 18th and the 19th. So 3 family members guys were lost due to this very nasty COVID-19 pandemic. So it's no joke. So I would rather have that all our physical tournaments be canceled and scheduled to maybe later September, just for the safety of everyone. So hopefully everyone out there, please stay safe, and try to of course boost up your immune system, because COVID-19 is not a joke and it's really killing people. So again, let's go back to our deck decking table, and let's try to give you an actual sample gameplay first of the Mantle mechanics for BS2PCG Deck Forger. So for today, we're going to give you an update on the Mantle mechanics using Spider-Man, aka Miles Morales, of the Champions team. So what we have done in our last video was to give you an outline of what are the contents, supporting characters, of course the plot twists and the locations, plus a sample gameplay of the original build that we made for Mantle mechanics. And for Mantle mechanics 2, we have somehow made it faster and somewhat perfect, the build for anyone who wants to use the Spider-Man Mantle from the Champions team. So we're going to give you the sample gameplay to show you how this can compete with most of the top tier decks in the game, and also of course most especially one of the top decks here in the Philippines, and that is of course the Outriders. So we're going to give you a sample gameplay. So first of all, we're going to shuffle our deck. And we're going to shuffle it thoroughly so that we're going to give you a very nice randomness for our gameplay mechanics. So by the way, Spider-Man of course makes use of the Mantle mechanics. So anything or any character with an asterisk from the beginning of its name up to the end of its name is a Mantle. So there can be a Mantle with 1 asterisk on it, or even a 2 asterisk, and even in the future maybe we will have a 3 asterisk character. So this is also a separate persona or character from the original one. So when you say Spider-Man, of course Spider-Man, that is from the Avengers team or from the Spider-Friends team, and that is of course Peter Parker. And of course we have the Spider-Man, and this is Spider-Man of course, with the Mantle from the Champions team, and of course that is Miles Morales. So hopefully we can give you a good thorough gameplay for this so that we can show you how fast the new Mantle mechanics can of course set up the board and release the Captain Universe, okay, 25 supporting character. So we're just finishing up our shuffle, and of course for this we're going to cut it again similar to what we do with, okay, during any build phase tournament. So we're going to cut it into 3, and so let's say we're going to choose, let's say 2, 1, 3. So we're going to choose 2, 1, 3, and we're now going to draw 7 cards. Okay, so those are 7 cards. Let's see. Okay, we have a Captain Universe, we have an Academy, we have a Training Ground, we have a Fallback, we have Gorgon, we have a Hawkeye, and we have another Gorgon. So I think this one will suffice. So let's try to roll the dice first. So odd, I go first. Even, I go second and get to draw 2 additional cards. Okay, so odd, so I will go first. So we will try to, of course, be able to fetch Captain Universe on the 4th or 5th turn. So first we play Academy, then of course we will try to play Hawkeye. It's up to you if you want to attack with Hawkeye, if you're able to attack, but if not, then you have to end the turn and you gain 2 XP because you have 2 characters with Mantle, and that is Spider-Man, or aka Miles Morales, and you also have Hawkeye, or aka Bishop, Kate Bishop. Okay, so you have 2 XP because they have 2 mantles. So now you end your turn, and your opponent will now go to the first turn of his game. So you try to play a character, then drop a resource, play a character, then try to make his formation, then try to attack Spider-Man. The goal here, of course, is for you to be able to stun Spider-Man or have him stun so that you gain a wound. So that when it's time to play Captain Universe, you have enough wound that he will not be KO'd at the end of the turn. So we'll try to explain that later. So once he gets stunned, okay, so now you can put a wound on him. So let's say if Hawkeye is not stunned, then she gets to survive to the next turn. Then we get to draw 2 cards going to our second turn, and now we have a Bishop and we have a Fallback. So I guess Bishop has been contested because of course we have, I think I remember that they have already removed the Mantle title for Bishop. But if not, then it's up to you if you want to put, let's say, Cyclops in here, or if Bishop is retained, then we just get to play him first. Okay, then of course now you have to put in your resource, and you now have a Training Ground, and at the same time you get to play Bishop. What I really like about Bishop, of course, is Bishop has 2 health, so he gets to survive for the next couple of turns because of his 2 health, and that is much better than Cyclops. But again, if this stands to be corrected, then Bishop can be replaced by Cyclops, or let's say another Hawkeye from the Civil War. But then again, since we're playing Hawkeye as our first drop, okay, it's either you play with Cyclops or you just play with Bishop, okay? Then you try to attack if you like, but then you can end your turn, and now you gain 5 XP for Spider-Man. Because now you have 3 characters with Mantle on your deck. And your opponent now gets to go to his second turn, gets to play a resource, recruit a character, then he will try to attack. So let's say if they try to attack, let's say Spider-Man, again it's okay that he gets stunned. Why? Because of course you want to get those wounds as much as possible. Going to the third. So it's okay. Now if he try to attack Bishop, then still okay, because again you can of course put a wound on him and still survives. So it's much ideal for us to have the Captain Marvel here, or the Miss Marvel here for our second drop, but then if none, it's okay. So if you're up against the likes of course Outrider, then you can be sure that they will still try to attack you. Then you can play your fallback twice so that you can survive your character. Okay? Then going to your third turn, now we were able to draw Captain America and another training ground. Okay, so with this, you play your second training ground as your third resource, and now you're able to play Gorgon. Okay, this is the Gorgon from the Hydra team, and he's also a Mantle. And the good thing here is if you are able to play Gorgon, then you are able to stop Outrider from getting those +1/+1 counters from, of course, the Grandmaster. And it's okay. It's okay. So there's no problem with that. Okay. So once you are able to drop in Gorgon, and of course you still attack if you like, but then you can end your turn. And so when you're able to end your turn, then you gain 9 XP total. That is one more than your required 8. And so Spider-Man levels up. Okay. So your opponent will now try to again go to his third turn, try to drop in any character, then he will try to attack. So it's up to you if you want to of course defend Spider-Man or not. But then if you're up against let's say a twin main character, then it's okay because they have more health than you. If not, then you can still stun Spider-Man and he gets a third wound. Then let's say they get to stun Bishop and still okay. Then if they try to stun, let's say Gorgon, then still okay because still you have another wound health for Gorgon. So now you go to your fourth turn, and this is now where the fun begins. Okay, so now you have, or you are able to draw Jersey City and Dark Phoenix. Okay, so again this is an anti-Outrider deck. So now you get to play your Jersey City for the fourth turn. If you're able to play, of course, the likes of Baron Mordo or let's say Killmonger, then you really have to have a Cosmo in hand. But if not, then we will try to, of course, simulate that, let's say they don't have any. So now you are able to play Captain America. And this is the Captain America, which is, okay, the Falcon, or the Black Captain America. And of course, he has Inspire. So whenever another character appears after him, then he gets a +1/+1 counter. So the good thing here is now you can play your Academy, because you can now use Generations to be able to build, of course, or fetch the biggest character in your deck, and that is Captain Universe. Okay, so again, why or how did we how were we able to fetch him? Because of course Captain Universe can be fetched by Generations, and says here that, okay, search your deck for a supporting character that shares a mantle with a character on your side and put it onto your side. So Spider-Man is a mantle of Spider-Man, and since Captain Universe is also Spider-Man because he is aka Spider-Man, then you can use a yellow power symbol to activate Generations and fetch Captain Universe and put him into play. And what's good about this, of course, is since Captain America or the Falcon Captain America is out in play, then your Captain Universe is far bigger than even another Captain Universe from your opponent's side. And why? Because he gets a +1/+1 counter. Then, they don't gain any counter, of course, because of Gorgon. Then Spider-Man, you can put him at the back row now. Since if your opponent still has more health than you, then you can, of course, let Captain Universe survive that turn. So you can attack with Captain Universe, it's okay. Okay, then now you get to, assault your opponent. If Captain America can attack, you can also attack. Then, of course, after this, your opponent will now go to his next turn. Of course, the only one that he can attack during his 4th turn is Captain America. And it's up to you if you want to survive him or not. But then, we are reserving fallback for any opposing character that may have range that can automatically stun Captain Universe even if he has a very high stats. So a good example will be, of course, Hawkeye from the photographic universe, or maybe Cable, or even Iron Fist. So at this fallback can negate the attack, and of course you can pull him back, put him into your back row if the need arises. Okay, so going to your 5th turn, let's try to continue. Okay, so you're able to draw another Bishop and of course a Gorgon. So at this point, of course, you can see here that you can drop in any character that you like. And since you still have Jersey City, now you can, of course, call in additional reinforcement. But first, you can play Bishop, and he gets a +1/+1 counter because of Captain America. Okay. And of course, now you can call in Jersey City if you want to call in Gorgon, or if you want to call in another Hawkeye. I didn't use the Bishop from the Alien Universe because, of course, it's not much of a stats. But then, if you really like, okay, then you can call in, let's say, Gorgon, or let's say you can call in Hawkeye. It's up to you. But then once they appear, you get to put an additional +1/+1 counter on one of them. So let's say if you want to snipe any opposing character, then you can of course bring in Hawkeye. Then it's up to you if you want to put Bishop in the front row, put Captain America at the back. Okay. Then by this time, of course, your opponent will be very hard up on, of course, attacking you because of the Captain Universe. Okay? And of course, if they have a stealth of their own, you can still use Spider-Man's Venom Blast to prevent any possible stun. Okay? So again, attack with Captain Universe. You can also attack with Hawkeye. Then by this time, you are actually controlling the board. Okay? So going to your 6th turn, let's try to continue. Then you have a Cyclops and you have another Gorgon. Okay, so now you can put in your 6th turn, and that will be Gorgon, your 6th drop, and again, because of Captain America, he gets another +1/+1 counter, and you keep assaulting your opponent. If you're going to go, let's say, a 3-wound scenario with your opponent, then you can stop attacking first with Captain Universe and wait until, of course, you're able to drop Dark Phoenix. Then, let's try to continue. Let's look at this. Okay, now you have another Captain Universe and you have another Hawkeye. So you don't have much of a drop anymore. But still, you can put in, let's say, 7 drop. Okay, now if you're going to go to your 8 drop, okay, then, you can still have an Academy here. Then you can call in, let's say, another Captain America. Because you cannot call in Gorgon anymore, you already have them in your hand, and you still have a Hawkeye, but then you already have a Hawkeye in play. So now you can call in your Captain America. Okay, once Civil War battles, of course, arrive here in the Philippines, of course we can now use some of the other new characters like the Miss Marvel, the one from Civil War battles. Then again, there are so many things that you can add with the new Civil War Arc battle set. Okay, so now Captain America is out in play. So as you can see here, you're already much totally in board control. And going to your last, okay, this will maybe the last turn, is of course now you have your Miss Marvel. So again, if you have a Miss Marvel out and taken, play her, or if you like, you can close the game or end the game already, and of course put out Dark Phoenix and call in keyword. Because with, of course, with the keyword, then your Captain Universe is already immune to any possible KO. So attack with Captain Universe, you can also attack with Dark Phoenix, and of course Dark Phoenix gains 2 XP or 2 +1/+1 counters because you have both Captain America out in play already. Okay, so that is how the new Mantle mechanics work, and we were able to, of course, okay, we were able to drop in Captain Universe during the 4th turn, and that is how fast this particular deck can actually come up with that big character. Okay, so much more better than the traditional ramping that other decks are using, like Ripley or let's say Groot, where you still have to reach 9 or 12, even 12 resources in order to drop in Captain Universe. Okay, so just to show you another scenario, let's try to, of course, shuffle this again, and if we have time to watch, let's try to give you another gameplay so that we can see how consistent this particular Spider-Man, okay, Mantle mechanics deck actually works. Okay, so let's try to cut it. So let's say 3, 1, and 2. Let's try to draw in 7 cards again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 cards. So now you have a Hawkeye, Captain Universe, and you have Academy, you have a Gorgon, and you have 2 yellows. Okay, that's a very good draw. Okay, so let's say this time we go in second. So for this particular instance, let's say your opponent gets to attack you and you get stunned and you have 1 wound. Then you draw 2 additional cards. Okay, now you have another Hawkeye and fallback. Very good. So now let's say we play Academy and you drop in Hawkeye. Okay, so so let's say now your opponent gets to his second turn, he gets to attack you again. Then Spider-Man gets wounded and Hawkeye gets KO. That's okay. Then let's try to go to your second turn. Okay, so you have another Gorgon and you have, of course, the Hulk. So let's try to play in Jersey City. Still play with Hawkeye, and still you gain an additional 2 XP at the end of your turn. Okay, so let's say your opponent goes to his 3rd turn, he drops in, let's say, Mordo, or let's say Jessica Jones, so that he can stop you from, of course, playing your generations. He gets to attack you again, so you get your 3rd wound, and now he gets to, let's say, attack Hawkeye. Okay, that's okay. So now you go to your 3rd turn. So we draw 2 more cards, and we have a Dark Phoenix, and we have a Hulk. Okay, the Hulk, show Hulk. And now you go to your 3rd, and now you have your Gorgon. So Gorgon again will prevent your opponents from gaining bonuses from their +1/+1 counters. And so we try to protect Spider-Man. So with 4 XP, you're still a little bit late. So now they get to attack you. Okay, so let's try to make it a little bit severe. Let's put a wound there. It tries to attack you again and you get your 4th. Okay, or let's say if the case will be 4th turn will be a little bit dangerous. So 4 wounds will be a little bit dangerous to you. So what you can do here now is try to go for a fallback. Then that's the time that he will attack Gorgon. Okay, so hopefully he can still survive the next turn. Okay, then you now have 6 XP. Then you draw 2 more cards, and going to your 4th turn, you have Cyclops and you have a Bishop. Okay, so for this particular case, you can now drop in, let's say, your Hulk in your resource row. Okay, then try to drop in Cyclops and Bishop. Okay, so that at least will give you a much good defensive position for your particular. Then by this time, of course, you gain additional 4 XP, and Spider-Man gets to level up. So let's say worst case scenario that, of course, you are not able to really gain any more defensive position for your deck, for your gameplay. Then they can attack. Of course, Cyclops will get KO'd. Okay, Bishop will get KO'd. Gorgon will get KO'd. And of course, Spider-Man will get stunned. And now you have 4 wounds down to your last one. Okay. That's okay. Then, draw 2 more cards. Now, that is what I like. Of course, because now we have Miss Marvel to protect us. As much as possible, she's a very good defensive supporting character. Then you now play your training ground. Then, of course, you play your Miss Marvel. Then, if there are any nullifying effects in the deck, in your opponent's game side of the board, then you now play Cosmo to nullify it. And now out comes again your Captain Universe. Okay. So now it's time for some payback. Try to attack your opponent using Miss Marvel. Then try to, of course, use your Captain Universe to pump. Then attack again with Captain Universe. Okay, so at least that's a very good position for you now. Then going to your 6th turn, if you're able to stop your opponent, still have your 6. Then, of course, now you can play your Joho. Then use your yellow, because by this time maybe you have already disposed of your any nullifying effect from your opponent, to call in, of course, the Hulk. Okay. So if your board state is already good, still you can attack with your Hulk and your Captain Universe. And by this time, of course, Cho-Hulk will now let you draw in an additional card, so 3 more cards. 2 more, okay. Then now you can play your yellow. And of course, with 3 additional draw, Hulk now becomes a 9/9. And now you can come up with Hawkeye and of course Gorgon. Okay, your yellow again, so that you can now call in a bigger character. And maybe for this particular case, you can now call in Gorgon. So if there are any locations out there that's still in play, you can actually flip them down. So see, the board state here is pretty intact now. And by this time, of course, you are now going to your 8th drop. Okay, now you can play your Gorgon. Okay, if your Gorgon gets stunned, then you can now play with your Gorgon and you can play with your Bishop and call in another bigger character. And this time maybe it's Hawkeye, or if you already have the Miss Marvel, then you can now call in Miss Marvel from Civil War. Okay, so Hawkeye. And as you can see, Spider-Man, Miles Morales is not really a very difficult character to play with. It's just sad that he was not given that particular highlight during the earlier era of PS2 PCG, most especially when Monsters Unleashed came out. And of course, when Crossover came out, Captain Universe paved the way for Spider-Man Miles Morales to become a very top tier deck. And I still remember a friend of mine before who used to play PS, that he already has all the components like Captain Universe and Spider-Man Miles Morales, because he both have, of course, the crossover box and Monsters Unleashed box. But then he never really got to understand how the Mantle mechanics Spider-Man actually works. Okay, so now looking back at what we have done, of course, in the next part of our, or looking forward, in the next part of our video, we're going to show you what are the components of the new Mantle mechanics, so that we can give you a good deck list of if you are interested in playing, of course, Spider-Man Miles Morales. So now we're so excited to find out what are the components for our new Mantle mechanics deck. And a while ago we have showed you a very good gameplay, actually 2 gameplays to be exact, so that we can show you the actual consistency of this particular Mantle mechanics deck and how it can compete in the new, of course, environment of BS System 2 PCG here in the Philippines. So first of all, before we go to the actual components, let's try to discuss again our main character. So as we can recall, Spider-Man, or the Mantle Spider-Man at level 1, so let's try to focus on that, is a 2 attack 5 defense character with 5 health, so he only has 5 health, and he is from the Champions team, and he has Venom Blast. So during combat or any turn combat, you can pay a yellow power symbol to choose a character in melee combat with Spider-Man to get a -0, -3 defense this combat. So a very good way to, of course, automatically stun those pesky 3 defense character or lower. Most especially those with, of course, hint hint, ferocious. Okay, so at least you can stun the likes of an Outrider, or maybe even, of course, Black Panther, or even Devil Dinosaur, or even up to, let's say, Spiral. Okay, then at the same time he has this particular XP requirement, and his level of power is, of course, Honor the Legacy. So he needs at least 8 to level up. At the end of your turn, Spider-Man gains 1 XP for each face-up character on your side that shares a mantle, even if it shares a mantle with a character outside the game. So a good thing here, of course, is Spider-Man in himself is already a mantle, and of course, this particular XP requirement is not really very dependent on your opponent. So all you need to do is just, first, make sure that your character survives your turn, those with mantle, so that he is able to level up. And at the same time, his level 2 stats are 4 attack and 8 defense, still with 5 health. And now he gains his second and more powerful superpower, and that is Generation. So during the build phase, you may pay any yellow power symbol to search your deck for a supporting character that shares a mantle with a character on your side, and put it onto your side. So the difference between Generations and, of course, Honor the Legacy is, by this time you need to have an actual character with mantle to call in another character that shares a mantle with that particular character, but then you put it onto your side for free. And that is where, of course, the fun part of putting out Captain Universe comes into play. So now let's go to our actual supporting characters. And for this particular instance, of course, we will start with your 1-drops. And again, still, a very essential part of your deck are 4 copies of Hawkeye. And of course, Hawkeye is a 3 attack, 1 defense character with 1 health and range from the A-Force team. And she has quick draw, so while Hawkeye is range attacking, enemy characters can't strike back at her. So very good for snapping those low cost character without, of course, her getting stunned back. But if it's, of course, a little bit dangerous on your part that you get to lose her during any attack, then it's better just to stay put and let her contribute an XP to Miles Morales. And the other 1-drop in your deck is, of course, Cyclops. And this is the Mantle Cyclops from the Champions team. And Cyclops at 1 cost is a 2 attack, 2 defense character with 1 health. And of course, he has Trigonomic Blast. So during the main phase, you may pay any blue power symbol to choose an enemy side and put a -1/-1 counter on the main character, a front row supporting character, and a back row supporting character on that side. So you can use your Jersey City, of course, to pay for Cyclops superpower, but normally we just use him to stay put and again gain and generate an XP for Spider-Man Miles Morales. And the newest addition to your team, of course, are 4 copies of Cosmo, and very essential in this deck so that you are able to prevent any possible nullifying character or effect from your opponent, with the likes of course, Jessica Jones, Baron Mordo, and even Killmonger. So at 1 cost, Cosmo of course is from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he is a 1 attack, 3 defense character with range and 1 health. And he has Nullify, so when Cosmo appears, choose an enemy character. It loses and can't gain keyword superpowers this turn. So they lose everything, and you're able to do your stuff with Generations for Spider-Man. And for your 2-drop, of course, your first main line of defense are 4 copies of Miss Marvel. And Miss Marvel is here, of course, because at 2 cost, she is a Champions team member, so she can team attack with your Miles Morales Spider-Man. And at the same time, she has 3 attack and 3 health. At the same time, 3 attack and 3 defense and 2 health, and she has size alteration. So while Miss Marvel is in combat, you may discard the supporting character as though it were any combat plot twist, and if you do, her base attack and defense become equal to the character for this combat. So of course, if you drop in or pitch in, let's say, Captain Universe to her size alteration, then she becomes a 25 attack, 25 defense character, and she is one of your ultimate defenders or defensive characters for your deck. And at the same time, of course, Miss Marvel has Mantle, so again, she gives you an additional XP, and with the added benefit of 2 health and a very powerful keyword power, she can now continuously add, or rack in those XP for your Miles Morales. And your alternate 2-drop, of course, are 4 copies of Bishop. And Bishop is here of course, because he is a 2 attack, 2 defense character with 2 health. And again, to stand to be corrected here, if Bishop is no longer a Mantle, as per the new rules that I think I have come across in Reddit, then you can opt to, of course, use Cyclops instead, because Cyclops with your Cyclops 1-drop is already a Mantle character. But then again, if you're able to play any blue superpower, then you may put a 2+1/+1 counter on Bishop. And then again, Bishop is here to add more XP to your main character. And for your 3-drop, of course, next on your list are 4 copies of the ever-dependable Gorgon. And this is Gorgon, the Mantle character from Hydra. And he is a 4 attack, 3 defense character with 2 health. And he's very important here if you're going against the like of Burning Blitz and of course those Outrider decks. And he is the Spear in the East, so enemy characters don't get attack defense bonuses from +1/+1 counters. And very, very stubborn for a 2 health character, so he gets to survive for 2 turns, and that is very good in penalizing your opponents by removing those bonus counters. And I decided to use 2 copies of Captain America here from the Avengers team because, of course, here at BS2TCG Deck Forger, we are very much into using characters that are seldomly used in other decks or in most top tier decks. And we have used Captain America here because he is also a Mantle character. And at 4 attack, 4 defense, and 1 health, he is a leader. So while he's team attacking, he will choose who the defender strikes back against. So since Captain America is an Avenger, you can use him to team attack, let's say with the Hulk or even with Gilgamesh, and still use leader to prevent a stun. And what I really like about him here is his Inspire. So when another character appears on your side, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So again, a bonus so that your Captain Universe can get to grow big instantly. And if you're up against a mirror match, then at least you have a much better chance of surviving your Captain Universe. And your 4-drop, of course, is Captain America, or aka Falcon, and he's a 4-attack, 4-defense character from the Shield team. He has flight and 2 health, and he has dodge, so Captain America cannot be range attack. And again, he also has inspire and he has leader. So if we both have Captain America and this Captain America out in play, then the next character will get a +2, 2+1/+1 counter instead of 1. And we skip the 5-drop because we go straight to our 6-drop, and we need to come out with the bigger characters once Generations is online. So once you have Hawkeye in play, the 1-drop Hawkeye, of course, you can now play your Hawkeye from Shield. And Hawkeye is a 7-attack, 5-defense character with 1 health and range. And he has quick draw. So while Hawkeye is range attacking, also enemy characters can strike back at him. And what the good thing here is, of course, he has sniper. So Hawkeye can range attack back row characters even while they're protected. So better to snipe those main characters hiding in the back, or those crucial characters like Senator Kelly or even Mordo, so that you're able to get rid of them. And for additional utility, we also have 2 copies of Gorgon, and this is the Gorgon from the Inhumans team. And he is a 7-attack, 6-defense character with 1 health, and he has Shockwave, so when Gorgon attacks, you may turn a basic location face down. So just to, ramp down those opponents using or highly dependent on locations. And another of your 6-drop, of course, is the Hulk or the Mantle Hulk from the Champions team. And since he is also a champion, he can team attack with Cyclops, Miss Marvel, or even your Spider-Man Miles Morales. And he is a 6-attack, 6-defense character with 2 health, so very stubborn, and at the same time he has Genius, so at the start of your turn you may draw a card. And Smashing Intelligence is when you draw 1 or more cards, you put that many +1/+1 counters on Hulk. So if he's able to survive, let's say the turn, and he's still face up, then you get to draw 3 cards and you get to put 3 +1/+1 counters on the Hulk, so that he becomes a 9-attack, 9-defense character. He came out while Captain America and the other Captain America is out in play, then now he becomes a 6-attack, 11-attack, 11-defense character. And of course, we also have the Hulk, and the Hulk at 7 cost is a 7-attack, 7-defense character with 2 health, and he has incredible power. So during a main phase, you may pay any green power symbol. If Hulk has a wound, put 7 +1/+1 counters on him. Although I did not really put any green locations here, but if you like, you still want to rely on Hulk, then you can still put 1 or 2 green fortress or any green generating location for your Hulk. Okay, and of course we have Gilgamesh for our 8-drop, and he's the 16-attack, 16-defense powerhouse from the Avengers team with flight and 1 health, and he has Eternal. So if Gilgamesh would leave play, you may put him into his owner's hand instead. And of course, don't forget to say Gilgamesh, because at the end of your turn, if you don't say Gilgamesh this turn, he loses and can't gain Eternal. And Dark Phoenix, of course. So we set up Dark Phoenix here because you need to get rid of that keyword power once your Captain Universe is out in play. So Dark Phoenix, one of the game tracking cards in the league, and she's a 10-attack, 15-defense character with 2 health and flight and range, also known as the Phoenix, and she can now, of course, deconstruct the universe. So when you recruit Dark Phoenix, you get to remove 1 aspect of the game or 1 concept from the game. So either you remove all +1/+1, -1/-1 counters, you remove all equipment, keyword text, levels, plot twist, and superpowers. And of course, the biggest dude on the block and your biggest character on your deck are 4 copies of your Captain Universe. So the difference now with the new Mantle mechanics is before we only used 2, but then we decided to use 4 this time, because what we have seen in the various gameplay is that once you are able to draw those 2 Captain Universe, then you cannot rely on him to come out anymore with Generations. So again, he is a 25 attack, 25 defense brute with 5 health and flight, also known as Spider-Man, so that is why you can call on him using Generations. And again, you have to be highly wounded once that Captain Universe is out in play, so that you are able to sustain him because of the time of peril has passed. Okay, So for this new deck, of course, we only have one set of plot twists, and we just decided to use 4 copies of fallback because, of course, sometimes your Captain Universe can be stunned or KO'd by several ranged attackers with particular nasty superpowers like Cable, Iron Fist, or even, of course, Hawkeye from the MCU battles. And fallback, during any combat, if a front row character on your side is defending, cancel the combat and you may move them to your back row. Okay? So just at least for some safety measures. And finally, for our locations, we decided to trim down our locations. So we just have 12. 4 training ground for our Spider-Man's Venom Blast. And of course, we have 4 Academy for our Spider-Man's Generation Superpower. And at the same time, we also have 4 Jersey City, your wild location for Champions Team. And most especially, we just use for Spider-Man's Venom Blast or Generations. So that's it, guys. So these are all the supporting characters and of course all the plot twists and locations that we have used for our new Mantle Mechanics deck. And by the way, of course, it's up to you if you want to tweak your deck. If you want to add, let's say, if we want to add some Nullifier on it, Serpent Crown, other plot twists, or let's say other locations for your Hulk, then again, it's up to you on how you would like to tweak your deck. So again, some other players here in Manila are of course building this Miles Morales deck right now. So the likes of Chanton Kwaki and the other guys like Ray Peter, who are all interested with the new build for Spider-Man's Miles Morales. So before we go, of course, we'd like to thank all our sponsors. First, we'd like to thank the BS2PG Collective and also, of course, Buildface USA. And at the same time, we'd like to thank all our official venue, and of course, those are Fort Shabby Place, located in Las Piñas City, Philippines. We also have PM Apartments in Quezon City, Philippines, and of course, our newest venue, and that is Fort Shabby Place North Point in Araneta Square Mall in Caloocan City, Philippines. And of course, we also like to thank our corporate sponsor. We'd like to thank, of course, Virtual Mall Philippines. So try to visit Virtual Mall Philippines at www.vmphilippines.com. We also like to thank, of course, Tweets for Them. And Tweets for Them, you can download the app at Google Play, or you can also visit www.tweets4them.com. And I also like to thank, of course, EcoSphere and our official water purifier for the S2PCG League. So you can try to visit Newland, or you can also try to search for it at New Skin Philippines. Just make sure to contact Newland because she can be a very great supplier for your EcoSphere. So guys, again, we're so excited to finally come out with another deck that will hopefully prove to be tier 1 or 1.5 at least for the upcoming 2021-2022 season of course, BS System 2 TCG. So until next time, this is Spider-Man Miles Morales being out of here again, and this is BS2 PCG Deck Forger.